Star Trek: The Next Generation was a show.
Star Trek: The Next Generation
everybody
was
I interacted with
a show that I started watching when I was a really little kid. Can you believe it's been 30 years? Star Trek: The Next Generation first.
Star Trek: The Next Generation was my life as a kid. It was the escape from reality.
Welcome to Next Generation's First Generation, where Patrick Delmore and Sascha Schaudies take a look back into their favorite childhood show, Star Trek: The Next Generation. This is where we attempt to reconcile how we felt as children watching the show and looking back as old farts now in our late 30s, almost 40s.
Welcome to another episode of Next Generation's First Generation. Today we are looking at
It's Allegiance.
Allegiance, which is I'm trying to see which episode of the season it is.
Number 18.
Number 18 of Season 3 of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Holy cow.
And in order to do this, we've brought along our some friends and some relatives. Matt is here.
Hello.
He's relatively my friend.
And because I remember watching this 30 years ago on a lazy Sunday afternoon with my dad, Tom is back.
Hey, good to see everybody.
Welcome,
again.
Tom.
Thank you.
And as usual, I am Patrick Delmore, and with me is my co-host Sascha Schaudies.
Hello.
So the DVD that this was on kind of crapped the bed. It was making a noise like a humidifier in the player, so we were watching on the CBS All Access app.
Holy
Today.
smokes.
Not
So
Netflix.
So it's going to be all high def and stuff.
Yeah.
Wow, fancy.
And so, without further ado, all we have to do is hit the play button. We'll give you 5, 4, 3, 2, and Allegiance.
The HD is very nice
Yes.
to look at. They have this planet with the beautiful Caspian-like sea. You've got the happy relaxation music. Captain's relaxing.
In a very uncomfortable uniform.
I wonder if he still has his personal relaxation light from the first season. Oh, look at that. He's asleep. This is the only rest he ever gets for 7 years. Whoa.
And I'll teach him to take a nap.
And looks like the 2025 Space Odyssey thing has
the,
come in and beamed
the monolith.
Data's on it. Did you clear your browser history? We're coming in. So there we go. Worf's on it. There's the captain laying on the bed.
I'm trying to have subtitles on this, but I don't know if they want track 1 or track 4, and neither one appears to have actual subtitles there.
Ah, that's alright.
Yeah. We've seen it.
He's in a room.
We're veterans.
This is the kind of scene I wanted to see in I think it was the 7th season, where a number of the crew were abducted by weird clicking creatures.
I love that episode, and I think I'm going to bring my dad back for that, too, because that's so weird. But yeah, this is kind of prototypical of that. So I'm 8 watching this, and I used to actually have a recurring nightmare that we had a partition shower in the house, and I would be stuck in that.
Oh, in the partition shower? Oh, man.
It didn't have like a clear partition. You couldn't see through it. So I dreamed that I would be inside that with the lights out. No water in it. Just like here I am in this tiny space and there's no way to exit it.
Oh, jeez. So, we have a paradox. The captain is both on the Enterprise and in this weird little partition room with 3 other people.
On the Enterprise and in Patrick's shower.
That's right.
Yeah, that is a
Well,
dilemma.
on this episode of Patrick's Shower, this was directed by.
Birkin.
It was directed by Winrich Colby.
Yeah.
And written by Richard Benning and Hans Beimler. Music by Ron Jones. This came out on March 26, 1990, so there's a good chance if it was me, Sascha, listening to this and my future self, enjoy your camping trip.
Yay!
Yay!
officially got the time off for that.
Woohoo!
This is what we do on our downtime, folks.
We sit in the woods like hermits if we're not watching Star Trek. It's the ultimate recluse life. Yeah, so this show, we're three and a half years in now. It's this episode 18 of 24, 26?
Yeah.
So, geez, we're halfway through this.
It's crazy, yep. So we have one more episode to record, and we will be in a dead heat with Next Generation, or with Star Trek Monthly Monday on Two True Freaks.
Hey! No competition at all.
No. And speaking of Two True Freaks, you will probably have heard it by now, but Matt and I have a show coming out on the network, The View from the Bridge, where we're talking about Picard.
Really?
Yep.
You two,
Yep.
I tell you.
But that will be that will have started well in the past by the time you're hearing this episode.
So when I watched this, I found it very interesting how Picard is assessing his surroundings.
Right.
And, he'll just kind of check people out, and he's not sure if this is like a hologram or on the holodeck. That is the worst way to check if someone's alive, is to grab their
by the
throat.
Yeah.
Picard, the Enterprise.
We studied your missions at the Academy.
So there's our first person as a cadet. They're introducing each other for the first time.
Yeah, I like how she's a military cadet and her first instinct is to shake his hand.
Right.
It's like, hey, you're a legendary captain that we've literally been reading about. I'm just going to grab your hand real quick like a starstruck celebrity follower.
She's a fanboy.
He has one of the most recognizable profiles in the world.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart does, but in the Star Trek universe, they just read about him and they don't show pictures of a guy.
They're beyond visual images.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's possible. I mean, there's thousands and thousands of captains.
Yeah, but again, Patrick Stewart is like a very recognizable looking person. Like, profile wise, I mean, that's why they wanted him to play Professor X in the X-Men. It's like you think of a good natured bald man. It's like there's Patrick Stewart.
The headpiece of this second alien they're talking to reminds me of something that Kai Wynn would wear. If you
yes.
look in the back, he's got like this Australian opera house hat. Oh, and the urinal cakes for food.
I know.
Oh.
That's one of the things that creeped me out the most is what he says about it. It's edible, but I wouldn't call it food. Just really weirded me out as an 8-year-old. That's like one of the lines I remember. It's very, very
Eating at Applebee's.
Yeah. With a lot of alcohol helps.
So he's checking the door. There's an instrument panel.
Why not?
They say, don't touch it. You'll be punished.
Combination is too
I
complex.
just never trusted this guy, and I was totally off. I thought
Yeah,
I
it
thought
would have
he
made
was the
more.
guy.
It would have made more sense if it was him.
Yeah, he was
The surrender alien. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's the thing. He's the obvious
Right,
choice.
he was, and I kept wanting not to be, but he kept coming back to him all the time.
Yeah, I would have made it.
That
Either
fangy guy.
the cadet or the big hairy beast guy, and have him turn out to
Nausicaan?
be, have him turn out to be actually very intelligent and be like,
He's not a Nausicaan.
No, he's not.
That was another thing that drew me to this as a kid, is that he looked so much like a He-Man character, like Beastman, or who was the one that actually had like hair on the toy.
Oh, geez, yeah, I know.
that was Moss Man.
Well, there was Mossman had that green texture, but there was like a guy that like literally had like Barbie hair on the outside of it. It was brown.
Oh,
I
that's
can't
great.
remember.
Hey, there's Will Wheaton. I'm just listening to an audiobook he is
Oh,
narrating.
nice. Which one?
I'm sorry.
Armada?
Oh, by what's his name?
Yeah.
Ernest Cline.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Is
did.
that a Star Trek book?
I don't think so. It's more of like a pop culture schizophrenia book.
Yeah.
I'm only like just a couple of chapters in, so I don't really know what's going on yet.
It's the guy that did Ready Player One,
Oh.
which Will Wheaton also read.
Well, then that makes perfect sense as to the writing style between Ready Player One and Armada, because they both sound very similar, and it's all pop culture references. So Picard just asked for a very unusual order, but I missed what it is he said.
They were supposed to rendezvous with the Hood, and instead they're going to go look at a pulsar.
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot.
They got the Something's Up music.
Yeah, that's the equivalent of the Enterprise going, no, we're not going to go meet with the people. Let's go cruise the highways and look at billboards.
Yeah.
And we're going to do it slowly. We're going to slow down so that it takes them forever to get there.
Now, this conversation is really important because Picard is clearly setting Riker up, saying, look, I'm going to be a little unusual for the next couple of days. I need to know how much you can trust me.
Yeah.
But, which is funny because the real Picard, if he was going to do that, would talk to Troy.
Mm-hmm.
He'd say the crew's going to be questioning my orders a lot. I just need to know, like, how far is too far, and you'll let me know.
Yeah, because at this point, he would know that Riker would
suspect everyone.
But he would still follow the captain's orders.
Yeah.
He wouldn't. And Riker wouldn't be the one going around saying, hey, everybody, Captain Picard's a little weird, but we're all good with it right now. It would be Troy.
Weird alert.
Yeah.
Weird alert.
Letting them know that we comprehend mathematics. By tapping
So
out the
here's
first 6
Picard. He's
times
typing out Morse code on the pad.
Thank goodness Morse code is still a viable option.
Well, it makes me think of in Split, where the 3 girls are captured and the 2 of them want to do something immediately to fight their captor, and the 3rd girl's like, wait, we don't know what this is. We
I
have to
remember
actually
that.
we have to assess the situation. We can't act at this point. We have no idea what's going on.
That was a terrifying movie.
It was.
I'm just trying to get
I just feel sorry for this poor actress that had to make up her hands.
I'm very good.
So now Picard has turned his attention back to the people in the room. Why was the cadet kidnapped? She doesn't really know.
But if they needed an engineer, sir, why didn't they take a real one? Why? That's not-
Because nobody would notice if you were gone. You're just a cadet.
Yes, but then...
But if they took Geordi,
I was like, but then we took the, captain of the flagship of the fleet, so...
Yeah.
Well, he and Geordi could probably communicate non-verbally to solve this problem too.
No, but I mean, when he says, they could have easily grabbed. That's a good point. Just any random engineer could.
well, the idea here, I think, for the captors was anonymity. Nobody knows who the other person is, and they just have to rely on their own resources and social skills to get out of there.
Well, it's again they're doing a personality assessment. So you have the military commander, the natural leader, the cadet who's been. They explain this too. Who's been just basically brain's been drilled to follow orders of any superior officer. The guy who's like, hey man, whatever you want to do, I'm good. Just don't hurt me. And then the strong man who comes in, who's instinct is to fight everybody.
And I love that people are like, racism doesn't exist, in the future, but it's like it does towards aliens. He's like, you're from which culture? You've been conquered 6 times. You're from Armenia? How'd it go with the Turks? You're from Yugoslavia. That's not a country anymore.
Well, here's Barbarella.
Yeah.
Stab my heart.
Now, no species would ever have teeth that grow like this, as they pointed out on.
Maybe they're implants.
Yeah, that's what I think. Is that when he's about to go into battle, he sticks those in, just to be.
Or they're not teeth; they're like horns. They're just decorative.
Yeah.
All
He
for the same reason.
He takes them out when he's eating. And,
For the same reason that people will put gauges in their ears.
Yeah.
Like, wait, hold on a second. He pulls them out. Oh God. I had really crooked teeth as a kid, and so I have to wear this now whenever I'm not eating in order to keep my teeth straight. I'm sorry, it makes me talk really weird.
It's his battle retainer. That or he just doesn't want to get French kissed.
Yeah.
So Picard has established a mutual agreement with Mr. Stabby Knife, playing poker in somebody's quarters. Here's a nice nod to the final episode.
yeah, I always thought of this as being like just the windowless poker room.
Is it Data or it's usually in Data or Riker's quarters actually, because Data's quarters is rounded.
Yeah.
Well, Riker has a window in his quarters.
I mean, could be we're not seeing that wall. Or bulkhead.
Yeah, we don't see the wall behind Riker, so you could be right.
Although officers at his level, like Picard, have a multi-room cabin. So it could be in a back area. I mean, even Worf had a multi-room.
Yeah, he did. So the captain just pretty much came in, asked Geordi, how efficient are the engines? He says, oh, they're 93%. Picard just says, well, why don't you up that just a little bit? And essentially kicked him out of the game.
No, he told Geordi it wasn't in order he could keep playing, but it's a Hobson's choice at that point. I mean, you kind of have to go.
You can see how uncomfortable everybody is with Picard just socializing, and it's not like him.
No.
Oh, here's your conversation with Troy.
I want to ask you about the crew. How they reacted to our sudden change.
They just cannot find a way to make her look flattering in these early seasons.
They did a great job with her by the time they got to the movies.
Yeah, when they finally put her in a duty uniform and stopped messing with her hair every 5 seconds and everything else, she looked fine. It just... These are not flattering clothing, and that hair...
So
it's just...
Jellicoe fixed her, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, as much as he was an ass to Riker, who kind of deserved it, really, he... a very efficient person. He got things done.
Yeah.
When we get to that episode, I'll have a lot to say about it, because that's probably one of my favorite sets of episodes, is Chain of Command.
Yeah.
That was very interesting. The camera angle was looking up at Picard, not at eye level, or kind of a little up high, looking at everybody around. I wonder if it's that cinematography was meant to kind of make him help with his deception of everything's okay.
That was the other thing they didn't try, is when they find out that door is fake. It's they're not beaming the food in; it's coming down a tube of some kind. So getting up there and trying to see where that connects to anything. I mean, yeah, it could result in them not getting food anymore, but it could also result in them.
What I wanted to know was they had a place for food, but no toilet. Like I was there for 3 days.
They've shown in other Star Treks that basically the toiletries recess into the wall.
Correct.
Yeah,
you see it with sinks and stuff. So yeah, you just tap something.
Absolutely.
They show that in Star Trek V, where Kirk basically says, "I need to sit down." He hits a paddle, and the toilet just slides out. And he just sits on the top of it and just.
A little.
And you? No, I'm not surprised. I've heard about your race. You're uncivilized.
Racist. I've heard about your race.
Used for laws or governments. We are strong.
Yeah, they're from an anarchist planet. Sure they are.
You live in anarchy.
So what I don't understand is that whenever there is a race of alien or a culture that doesn't meet our values, they usually make them look like demonic monsters.
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that? It's just like, but the more aesthetically pleasing, or more human-like the race is, the more closer to home their problems seem to be.
You got to remember, the show was not built towards. Here we are, 30 years later, multiple Star Treks and everything. Back then, this was literally we're trying to appeal to the masses, people who aren't into it as much. So we gotta water it down for you to get the image. Things like, hey, this guy clearly bad because he's got knives and he looks mean. This guy clearly good because he's clean shaven and wears a necktie.
Poison.
This guy, I love his acting.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. So, was that the same urinal cake that Picard was nibbling on earlier? Picard, I can taste your lip balm on this.
Yeah.
How long can you go without food?
Well, you can eat somebody. It won't be very long.
Yeah.
3 days without food? That's not very long at all.
No, it's not.
Well, it could be he hadn't eaten for like 10 days prior.
Or he's got a good metabolism. Because people can last 2 weeks if they just have water.
Yep.
Yeah, but we don't know how long it was since he last ate. You could have been waiting for,
Maybe he's
coupon night
waiting
at
for
the
his.
local.
Yeah, maybe
Oh, I
he was
forgot about all this with
Yeah.
Beverly.
Becoming amorous.
Yeah.
Well, usually you have to remind me and badge me and find the orders to report. For once, I thought I'd save you the trouble.
Feeling a little randy. Thought I'd come down and let you poke
This
me a
is
little
what I mean.
bit.
This is what James Bond does with Moneypenny. Is he's like, hey, come over and have dinner, and you know all those stories about how I am just a beast with women. Yeah, not with you. Not with you. I like you. We'll kiss. But that's it. Because I mean, honestly, I have to see you at work tomorrow, and you're gonna talk to Em about what we did.
That is hilarious. So that blue alien that is kind of the pacifist.
Yeah.
His name was Esok, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just making sure.
He's confusing me in a kind of a neat way.
Yeah.
So it's really funny because in Babylon 5, Esok played a character named Duke Hot in
That's
not
funny.
Ducat, Duke Hot.
We're not going to talk about Babylon 5.
You don't think that's mistreatment?
He was also in Sliders.
I think we should just
Yeah. The whole Beverly and Picard relationship is it's built around the idea that he and his best friend both had an equal chance with her, and his friend was the one that made the move.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Picard wanted to respect that.
Yeah.
It's like friendship over romance, basically. And with Picard being responsible for the competition's death, it wouldn't sit right for him to swoop in and steal the gal too.
But he's a social coward. He could have the relationship with Crusher that he wants to have.
Does he really want it though?
I think he likes the idea of it.
Yeah.
But as far as does he really want to?
make it so.
Because he's not a coward in so many other ways.
Well, yeah, he is.
I think more than a friend and less than a partner is what he's after.
Okay.
He wants what the relationship ends up being in season 7. We'll have breakfast every day together. Dinner every once in a while. Go to a concert and 10 forward, but that's kind of about it.
Well, this
I
kind
could
of goes...
really imagine that this pain ray. I think I had nightmares about it after I saw this show.
Oh, so
I
they
was
were...
just getting hit by a ray that would hurt like that. Yeah.
I was hit by a ray once.
Were you?
Yeah, he punched me right in the jaw.
I knew you were going to say that. God.
Yeah.
Ooh. The minute he said that, I was like,
These would be
someone's
the
going
least
to make that
comfortable
shit.
chairs to have dinner in.
I want to have my next date with office
Well, look at
chairs.
the wine glass. It's
Yeah.
like you got a half a bottle of wine.
That's what they
each one.
replicate. That's what they replicate for you. I want the big wine glasses, the flutes.
Out with it, John Luke.
She wants to know what's up.
Yeah.
Hey, it's the same outfit he wears in Captain's Holiday.
Yeah. That's one of the funnier things about Captain's Holiday I'll get into is that those are clothes he owns. He doesn't go down to Ryza and replicate them. He has them in a suitcase in his quarters in case he needs to wear them, these open collar shirts. It's a fine shirt, Picard. Do they make them for men?
But they have, because Riker has one of those, and
Yeah.
Beverly looks really
Geordi
charming.
even has one.
Yeah.
She's way more put together than Picard. Picard looks like he just stepped out of the shower.
I could believe seriously that LeVar Burton would own shirts like that in the 90s, though. Like they just raised LeVar Burton's wardrobe.
Oh, she just pulled the money penny line on him.
What'd she say?
Our professional relationships necessitate a distance or something like that. So,
Is that what you want, John Luke?
Which isn't entirely true. I mean, she's the chief medical officer.
Yeah.
She's the only other one on there who can relieve him of command.
The biggest issue in their getting together would be not knowing how Wesley's supposed to feel about it. Because nobody else on the ship would have a problem with them being a couple.
only Wes.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that's still kind of holding on to the past for all three of them or all two of them, I should say, is that, Wesley is a firm reminder of the life that they used to live.
Yeah. And he's still operating on, I'm only here as long as Picard likes me.
I don't know. I think he kind of suspects his mom and the captain are kind of going. I'd be one of those if they cut together and said, we're getting together. He'd be like, oh, really? I mean, I kind of always assumed, since the minute we first walked on the bridge at Farpoint, and you had that hangdog look on your of longing on your face.
That's why, that's why I always call before I come over, Mom.
Yeah, it's like, that's how I assumed, you gave me a 17-year-old boy the ability to fly the flagship of the fleet with, no formal training.
So Beverly kind of did everything right here. It's very unusual that she was asked to dinner, and she immediately opened up with, what's going on? What is our relationship changing? And he gave some kind of open-ended yes questions, or answers, I should say. But the cool thing is, after this episode, you see them regularly kind of, breaking the formality.
Yeah, but it's funny because she knows this wasn't him. Or does she? No, she's not there at the end.
No, she's not. She turns against him once they realize something's wrong with him.
But they don't know that it's not him. They could have been like, hey, I had some bad wine, or, drank a glass that Riker was holding at the bar. Any kind of thing, but...
I always really liked Dr. Crusher, but I never felt like they did enough with her character.
No, I agree with that.
I could have seen her in some more Dixon Hill episodes, to tell you the truth.
I could have just seen more Dixon Hill episodes.
True.
I mean, I could have easily seen one a season.
That's one thing that I liked about a couple of the Enterprise. They had a few alternate universe... what was that called? The Terran Empire episodes?
They only did 2.
They only did 2?
Yeah.
I thought they did more
the
than
very
that.
end of the series.
Oh well. Good night. Kicked her out.
Yeah.
Kicked her out.
I love that, yeah. Hey, let's just dance this way. Oh, look, you're outside already. Click. But, yeah, she's literally like, how did that happen?
Far from the door. Of course I did. Being stunned once was enough. You claimed you were hit by the stun beam before the rest of us.
So now they're starting to henpeck each other. Our antagonist is going after the pacifist. You didn't suffer with us, so you must be guilty.
Collaboration is what your species does best.
You did try to talk us out of attempting to escape.
This would be the big tell for me if I was Picard. Is that she shouldn't be egging the situation on, and she clearly is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she shouldn't be doing anything. She's the cadet, and so she should basically be standing one step behind him at all times,
Right. Yeah.
and not even verbally agreeing with him, just waiting for him to tell her what to do.
More observation.
Yeah, just
Talking, and I will use it.
If I was stuck in one of these situations, I believe that less is more. You'd have more success not getting into these kinds of conversations. I love her bisected.
she's a bully.
The bullying thing.
Yeah.
Thought I asked her to open the door. You ordered her to me. You've been giving orders from what you've got here. Trying to make everyone do.
He makes a really good point. Everybody's falling into their role. Picard's falling into his leadership role. The pacifist's falling into the pacifist's role. The aggressor is just looking for a fight, so that's his role. But she doesn't have a role. This engineer.
Now, I don't know if they've said with the Bolians or not if that scene can open up.
All right,
Like
there's.
if they have like bisected eyes and stuff. Or segmented eyes.
The other thing I know about them is that Bolians have like their saliva is like acidic, and that their throat is like basically it's one of those. It's where they got that thing from the Orville where what's his name can eat like bolts and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I don't think she's Bolian.
Yeah, she is.
Yes, she is.
They say in the episode that she's a Bolian.
Yeah,
Oh.
and that's exactly what they look like.
Because I don't remember Mott having that.
Yeah, he
split
does.
down- Oh,
Yeah, he
does
does.
he?
It's not maybe as pronounced, but yeah.
I love that Mott is in one episode, and I remembered his name.
Oh, it's kind of like the soup guy in Frasier. No soup for you.
Yeah.
I mean, he was there for exactly one episode.
Half impulse makes even less.
One of my favorite parts of
Captain
this
has
episode coming
given
out.
unusual orders before.
I know.
Oh, this is where he sings that song.
Yes.
That song has a name. It is called.
And it's a song everybody in Starfleet knows. It's an old Navy song.
It's called "Heart of Oak"
Huh.
by the Royal Navy.
Just like they'd all know, I am the very model of a modern Major General.
And this right here is also in the Pogo song.
Huh.
Do you remember that?
The Pogo song.
Yeah.
Remind me what that is.
It's a techno song.
Oh, yes. Yes,
it's
the
called
Captain Jean-Luc Picard, yeah.
Mhm.
Now I know what you're talking about.
I know that I can rely on both. Of course.
But it's the official march of the Royal Navy. Wouldn't it be the official swim of the Royal Navy? The Navy doesn't march; they
Tread water.
Yeah.
they tread water, right?
Well, it's a military march. That's
Yeah.
it's a type of song. It's to help you keep pace and cadence.
And it was written. Sorry, it was written by a guy named David Garrick. How cool is that? There's another Star Trek connection. Garrick.
Replicated Frosty mug.
The only captain I can see that would go into the mess and do this, I mean, technically this isn't the mess, but would be Archer, who would actually do this. Not necessarily sing to have them all sing, but would give a toast saying, he thinks that they're the finest that Starfleet's ever seen. Because Kirk wouldn't. Kirk was very much about individual praise.
Yeah.
Kirk didn't really socialize. Kirk would be in his quarters most of the time,
Yeah.
too.
Is this the first time or the only
Cisco
time?
would do it. He wouldn't sing, but he'd give the toast.
Does
'Cause
that give
he-
a big toast to everybody?
I think he would, because they've shown him doing that in the mess hall on the Defiant.
Oh,
Remember
yeah.
during the war, and he's like, when they're doing the changing out the power cells, and he's like, "Hey, this is the," he gives that big speech about this is the finest crew we've had in battle and stuff. And he's done it, I think, once or twice in Quarks too.
Mm-hmm.
But it all comes down to the personality of leadership, and this is not the leadership of Picard that people know.
Well, yeah, for a lot of people, this is the most Picard's ever spoken to him.
Yeah, it's like, wow, he's not a myth. He comes out of his room.
He's not that spirit boogeyman that Riker made up.
And here comes at least the third should we mutiny the captain conversation.
But they don't really feel that way about it anymore. When he took on that space nebula and wanted to jump out into the void, they were so scared at that point in season 1. Like this is mutiny we're talking about here. Now they're like we get together and have conversations about Picard on our own all the time. And
Yeah, it's like,
we're
this
not
is my turn to
particularly
host
concerned.
it.
Yeah.
Next week we'll be meeting in Troy's quarters.
It looks like a sync fixture there behind Beverly.
Identical to his last physical, which is kind of unusual in itself.
Almost as though he wanted to establish that there was.
There was one other.
How would a person do that, Riker? How would they establish that it was exactly the
Yes, I
same?
did.
It's like a person can't. It's like that should jump to that there's some alien connection right there. Like if it's something that a person can't physically do.
What if there's an outside influence?
Hey, now you're cooking with gas.
I detect no evidence of telepathic coercion.
Again, yes, useless Troy.
Yeah, it's like, because
I only work on one level, and that's it.
Was never explained. It is not enough evidence to justify mutiny. Nobody has suggested removing the captain from command.
You know what? You know what, Worf? Wait outside and make sure he doesn't come in.
yeah.
Just do your job.
Aww.
if you see him coming,
Yeah.
get him in a conversation about, I don't know, sailing knots.
Yeah, this is why we don't let you host these parties.
You always want to fight.
Any one of us.
So we missed it.
Even me.
We missed it, but Picard already had the tell.
Yeah.
So he gave out a breadcrumb saying, even this virus on blah 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 planet, and of course the cadet was quick to build him up, saying, "Oh yes, very famous mission," and of course we all know that's classified apparently.
Accusing one another of the hostility leads to violence. So we allow our suspicions. to destroy us.
Another
Look at him! Look at him being able to say that without yelling like he normally does. Should we allow our suspicions to destroy us?
Yeah, well, I think he only yells when he knows he has to follow up with violence.
Now they're playing the how close can you get to a radioactive thing without getting everybody to turn away, which was... There were people that were still in the Navy that had to deal with that when they were occupying Japan. Where they would get ordered to go next to extremely dangerous radioactive wreckage.
It reminds me of when Chernobyl blew. Some of the eyewitness accounts was they would give the soldiery saying, okay, you have 30 seconds to run in there and pick up this one piece of debris and throw it in a bin and you can never come back.
That's right.
That's all the radiation you can get for your life.
There's still places that the Hanford nuclear storage that are like that.
Yeah.
Where you can't walk outside without having a safety suit on.
So here goes Imposter Picard is calling Riker on his play before he has a chance to use it. Where, I think you're about to... What you're suggesting is mutiny. So I'm going to excuse you, please.
You might be the one with the problem. I'm aware you've been under stress.
Gonna put it on you. Deflect.
But this is what Picard would have said to him, though. It's got to be a hard decision because he doesn't not sound like Picard when he's saying that.
And that's where the real Maya,
He's like, everything.
It's like, this has been a test, Riker.
Other than that he's ordering
again.
us to our deaths, everything he's saying to us is. So I hope the handle of that knife is non-conductive.
I was going to say, isn't this like the 24th century version of sticking it in the toaster?
Yeah.
Right.
Well, remember when Picard uses an iron filing to do micro work on Data's head?
Yeah.
It's like, jeez.
Look at my English muffin at all costs.
There. That's all I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I may have overloaded it, sir.
Oops.
Did you? Did you really?
Okay,
big guy. Let's get yanking.
Oh no, his name's Thal, not Essak.
So he's able to open it by sticking his two hands between the gap and pushing them apart, where they couldn't by pulling on.
He's way stronger than everybody else.
He just doesn't show up.
Yeah. Now the Doctor in this situation, and by Doctor I mean Doctor Who, the second this happened would have been like, now, when is a door not a door? When it's ajar! And just moved it right out of the way.
Getting closer to the radioactive thing. That's a nice butt shot there. Look at that. Yeah. You get to see both cheeks. And then both cheeks again.
Belay that order.
Dun, dun, dun. What? You shall carry out my orders. I love that setting there with Picard, Riker, and Worf. It's all kind of lined up.
Yeah. Try it and you know what'll happen, Worf.
Nope. Worf refuses, which is unlike Worf. Worf is all about fight to the death, stand your ground.
Unless he knew that Riker was going to be permanently relieved of duty, he'd never hear the end of it if he did that. If he even tried. The rest of his time, it's like the rest of his time in Starfleet. It's like, his record would show that he did what the captain ordered, but he would have to transfer off the Enterprise because Riker just would not let up on it.
And those two guys never really had a cozy relationship.
No.
They had a good understanding of each other, but they were never cozy. Worf is like, nope, I'm good. I'm going to just stand here and drink my prune juice.
So the bridge crew's all like this. Picard was like, why don't you call security to the bridge and have Commander Riker removed?
Yeah.
I mean, there's 1,000 other people on the ship.
Because it's a test for all of these people. I mean, I feel sorry for these two poor guys at their duty stations. They're like, seriously, what?
Yeah.
I know, they're just thinking like, thank God none of us are wearing a red shirt.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you're in command now, so.
So our crew here, not the crew, our little gang has hit a wall. There's food they can't eat, a door they can't open, and they all hate each other.
And she's pretty much all wrapped up.
Yeah, her body
It's
language.
just, yeah.
This isn't a holding cell. It's a laboratory maze.
Laboratory?
Always
Laboratory?
drives me nuts when he pronounces stuff the British way but says lieutenant the American way.
How do you say lieutenant the British way?
Lieutenant.
Lieutenant?
Yeah,
Weird, with an F?
yeah. It's spelled the same.
That's
yeah.
almost as bad as when people say Washington.
Yeah, I know. That is bad.
If you the
Wow.
yeah, it's Washington D.C. and Washington State.
I'm okay with that.
Yeah,
The other Washington.
yeah.
I stopped and captured.
So,
Trained
Picard's just gonna
and you
call out all the facts that we've observed.
cadet. Sworn to obey us.
He's about to flush out the quail right here and say, I'm done.
Obstacles for us to overcome. They give us food.
Watching this as a child, I found it a lot more,
Make him a threat.
how do you say it? Complex.
Yeah.
No, watching it now, it just kind of seems a little simple.
It does
and
because
happy.
we've seen this so many times.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you know, when you're 8 years old, you've never seen anything like this. It is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Observe our reaction.
Sir, I've been trying to help.
Great makeup. I love it.
First year cadet would know of the Enterprise's visit to Mintak.
So we're gonna go all out on the makeup, not so much on the wig.
Classified the core Carolite fight.
But there's a lot of wigs in this episode anyway.
No cadet would have knowledge of that incident.
Oh, dang.
So we may as well drop this pretense.
All right, he's called her out. He wants to see the bluff.
As far as I am concerned, this experiment is over.
And 3,
I have a schedule
2,
to keep.
1.
You were correct, Captain.
Flash. Look at that. She just turned into 3 people.
Who are actually played by twin brothers.
These guys are just intense. They've got skull for hair.
That's an interesting shot they're doing right there.
Yeah.
Right? I love it. I want to know more about these guys.
Good luck.
We never hear from
I
them.
think they're in
again.
that. Remember that book I gave you about alien species? I think they're in that book.
I'm sure they are. So this is by Jerry Rector and Jeff Rector. Simply just known as Alien. Well, he kind of looks like the guy from Orville there.
A little bit, Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
Everybody's going back to where they're supposed to go.
Look at how fast the Enterprise is booking it.
What's going
There's
on,
2 of them.
Worf?
It's like, I thought I told you not to have that in your van. Always pulling a gun on people.
And there we go. The fake Picard is revealed as Jeff.
Whoa.
There's Jeff and Jerry just hanging out. And now Picard is going to give him a full undressing on the bridge.
Tongue lashing.
Yeah, there's some visual communication. I thought this was pretty sick.
That's great. Yes.
Yeah,
I wish we saw more of that. I can communicate with the people that are close to me by just looking at them in a certain way. That stuff, what to do. We don't see that enough.
You have no right to put us through this. Just
Where he goes up and nods to Worf, Worf just shoots the 2 of them. Oh wait, that's not what that was. No, when I tilt my head to the right, Worf, the right.
So I will scratch my head not once, not twice, but thrice.
These guys have absolute no empathy. It made me wonder, as a child, how could they even survive in an intergalactic society, working with other people?
They probably don't.
They don't. That's why they're doing this experiment. This is why we don't get invited to parties. We need to figure out what's wrong.
Yeah, you decided to mess with the Enterprise. You should have messed with the Hood.
Nobody likes me on OK Cupid anymore. I need to figure out what's wrong.
This would have been a little better if we had 2 or 3 of these guys impersonating the crew, and Troy figured it out and was able to gain one of their confidence and kind of work through the problem, rather than it never went beyond the deception. I would have loved to hear the original need of what these guys are trying to fulfill, because classic Star Trek, if the villain is benevolent,
They're not villains. They don't know any
They
better.
wanted to see what would happen if they put everybody in a little box.
They do this on every Star Trek series.
Yeah.
They did it in Voyager when they were messing with people.
Well, they did it like
in-
12 times on Voyager.
Yeah, they did it on Enterprise, which was neat because they used the Organians for it.
Okay.
Yeah, they're just.
I haven't gotten to that episode yet.
Yeah, it's the first time they retconned it to be the first time the Organians have contact with humans.
Huh.
There we go. He just said, "Get off my ship," and they're going back to the
So
hood.
happy to have you back.
Now, here's the cool thing. Crusher doesn't know any of this has happened, and she's about to step on the bridge and give him some lovey-dovey eyes.
Yeah, basically just falls short of sitting on his lap.
Very convincing, but not perfect. Not perfect in one way.
See, now, I'd almost want to, if I was Data, or even Wesley, I'd just say, "Hey, Mom, can I talk to you really quick about what just happened on the bridge?" He's all blushing.
Look forward to reading your report, Commander.
Singing bar songs. Oh, Picard is not happy about what his imposter has done.
But in one way, it was like, you know what? You didn't have the balls to do it, but your imposter broke the ice with Crusher. And you get to reap the rewards.
That's what every nerd wants. Is it's like, while I was asleep, a duplicate of me asked the girl I was too nervous to ask out.
Exactly. And she said yes.
Yeah.
It's the thing.
What's with the eyes, Beverly Crusher?
Yeah.
Oh, bedroom eyes.
Yeah, I noticed you're not wearing your jacket.
Would have been funnier if he found like her blouse in his quarters, and it's like, where did this
That
come
would have been
from?
hilarious if she just comes up and says, "Oh, by the way, you left this last night." and just hands it right to him.
But it really introduces a whole new minor story arc with those two characters, and I'm happy for it. If I were to give this a rating, I think I would give this probably 4 out of 5 imprisoned people. Just because, it kind of moves things along with how the crew interact with each other. They're finally maturing into their roles. We know clearly what each person's personality type is about, which is really this episode is about. Picard is not playing to his own character. We know who he is. We've watched him for 3 years, where when we go back to the Nebula episode in season 1, they were freaking out from the very first minute he was out of his mind.
But again, it's because this is like we've been 5 minutes with this guy and all this, and he goes like, "We're 5 minutes with the new captain, and he already wants to jump out into space."
Yeah.
I mean, if you just got married and your wife then says, "Hey, look, it's I-5. Why won't you let me open the door?" I'm going to agree with you. This was a good episode. It's not one of the best, but it was good enough that they decided to replicate it every time they do Star Trek again.
It was a good It was a good foundation to copycat the script.
It was basically it's basically the same script every other time. We just changed the paper and the carpet.
There we go. The favorite copycat episode I have of this one is where Voyager was being used as medical experiments. Do you recall that?
Yeah, they did that a couple of times with the people in Voyager.
Yeah, the only difference is they didn't really quite have an imposter, but they still had that, we're studying you, and we want to see how there's a reaction. So how about you, Pat? Where do you fall in on all this?
I give it about a 3.
Okay.
It's a good idea, not well executed, but there's so many fun things in it, and the nostalgia factor is really high.
Yes.
If I hadn't seen it when I was 8 and didn't remember it that well, I would give it a 2.
All right.
Just because it doesn't really go anywhere or do anything other than with Crusher, which the whole time the thing with Crusher is a tease. It never goes anywhere or does anything.
That happens for like 3 more years, which sounds like a perfect bad relationship to me.
I'd love to see the 5-minute follow-up where it's him, Crusher, and Troy sitting there. It's like, now, I asked Counselor Troy to be here for this conversation, so we have a witness who will verify that it really wasn't me. It was somebody else.
How about you, Tom? How do you weigh in on this?
How many urinal cakes do you give it? Out of 5.
Out of 5?
Yeah.
Ooh, maybe 2.
Yeah.
It's just...
Is that good or bad? Are they good tasting urinal cakes or bad?
It's not a good urinal cake
Okay.
taste. It's not. It just doesn't quite reach some of the ones they've done. So Sits at a 2.
Sits at a 2.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that just about wraps it up for us. We want to thank you for listening along, and make sure to check out the Two True Freaks Network, where you can catch some of our shore leave series where we review movies like Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and then also, what was this new show that you're starting?
It's called View from the Bridge.
View from the
Where
Bridge.
Matt and I discuss the Picard series.
That is great. Okay, well, with that being said, we'd like to say, have a wonderful day.
Why am I interviewing you guys?
So you're the guest.
So Sasha, what is
So-
Star Trek
Hi,
Next
I am the
Generation?
guest.
So, Sasha, what is Star Trek Next Generation?
Seek us out at Next Generation's First Generation at iTunes, Google Play, and YouTube. Music credits include Electric Car by Poddington Bear, Broke for Free, As Colorful as Ever, Glass Android, and Star Song by Lee Rosevere. Audio engineering by Sascha Shouties. Chief Meme Maker and episode cover credit goes to Matthew Kirschner. Logo and graphic art design credit goes to David Clawwitter. And special thanks to Patrick Delmore for working with other podcasts to make sure the good word gets out.
Do you have a podcast that you think people should be listening to? Send us your promos and we'll play them on the show. If you'd like to email the show, you can email us at nextgenfirstgenpod@gmail.com. I've been Patrick Delmore.
And this is Sascha Shouties. Thank you very much for listening and have a wonderful day.
Good night.